As pointed out in another video of mine, Population Growth at All Costs, the two major parties in Australia both support increasing population through immigration. Why? It's the economy, stupid, but also because Australians are simply not having enough children. We've been below replacement levels since 1976. So consecutive governments decided the best way to counter this reduction in fertility rate is to import the people instead. Because there are economic benefits, and because there is a real risk of a shortage of working-age people to support an ageing population, governments will almost always push for an increase in population at all costs. Of course, many of you might rightfully point out that increasing human population puts untold pressure on the environment, housing and infrastructure, employment, and perhaps even social cohesion. Prominent Australian businessman Dick Smith has often stated that constantly increasing population will ultimately destroy the Australia we know. The Daily Mail: unemployment is near record lows, wages are recovering and the economy is booming, yet both political parties want to increase immigration, putting pressure on homes, schools, roads and our Aussie lifestyle. You would think with all the potential for environmental havoc, the Australian Greens would be opposed to population increases, and on paper they are. They actually do have a population policy. Here's some of their key points. The current level of population growth and the way we produce and consume are outstripping environmental capacity. Australia must contribute to achieving a globally sustainable population and encourage and support other nations to do the same. Population policy should not be primarily driven by economic goals or to counter the effects of an ageing population. The continuing rapid increase in the human population is drastically affecting national and international outcomes in environmental sustainability, human health and welfare, blah blah blah. Then it looks like we agree. Well, not so fast. Although the Greens agree that unbridled population growth is bad, their immigration policy seems to run counter to this. Australia's cultural, ethnic and linguistic diversity should be celebrated for greatly enriching our society and economy, and this diversity is enhanced by the immigration of people to Australia. Australia must uphold its humanitarian and legal obligations to people seeking asylum and refugees, grant refugees protection and reunite families as required by international human rights law. Seeking asylum is a human right. People who enter Australian territory to seek asylum do so lawfully. So basically, from what I'm reading in their policy, Australia should accept as many people who come to Australia as long as they're seeking asylum. If 1 million people come, we have to accept them all. Heck, if 20 million people come, we have an international obligation to accept them all. Here's the Greens leader Adam Bandt being asked about population growth. Watch him squirm.
Nick Stewart. Talking about making decisions in our own interests, one question that you were asked earlier, which you didn't answer, maybe you didn't hear it, was what should Australia's population level be? Most environmentalists say that 28 million is absolutely the top at the moment. We've had a brilliant opportunity now with COVID to try and scale back on immigration, which has fueled the previous economy that you've criticised. What would be a number, and is it true that 28 million would be too many Australians?
Well, the number one...
Sorry, yes or no? Well, 28 million?
I don't think it's a yes or no question. The answer that I want to give is this.
30 million.
The number...
30, do I hear 35? Sorry, you go on. Nominate a number.
My number is zero pollution. Right? My number is zero pollution.
Sorry, I'm talking about people, not pollution.
I'm talking about zero pollution because if you are concerned about Australian population and our environment being sustainable, then the thing that you've got to be concerned about is the climate and environment emergency that we're facing.
So why don't the Greens want to reduce immigration? I think there's a very simple answer. They're dead scared of being labelled racist. They know that parties like One Nation, who have argued against immigration, are often labelled racist, so they'll do everything in their power to avoid this. Consequently, the Greens don't want to put any caps on immigration, which surely we must all agree would destroy the Australia we know. you.